I want to ask you about the ETF market while we have you here. We don't get Nelson here that often, so I want to pick your brains. This is one of the many things in your portfolio is to make sure the NASDAQ ETF business continues to do well. It seems to me there's two big trends here. One is the cryptocurrency trend. The cryptocurrency ETF's biggest, I mean, I don't know if it's the most successful launch ever, but 150 billion in assets in 1 year is pretty darn good. You have IBIT, which is the biggest one out there, is lists on NASDAQ, right? The BlackRock ETF. Give us some riff on that, if you will. And then the other trend I see is sort of option-based ETFs in general. But talk about crypto first.
You know, we're still obviously big proponents of the active market. So I think there's still a lot more money in active assets, but more new money going into ETF assets. That's very clear. 2 out of every $3 is moving in that direction. So we just continue to see demand for ETFs being built by NASDAQ. It's not just NASDAQ though. There's other big providers out there. So I just think we are continuing to see this trend of passive, but you need to have active to marry that so you don't end up being too concentrated just in active. I think we're in a unique moment in time to say how does active continue to have a role. So you do have moments like a whole sector gets developed around something like digital or crypto, and now potentially having more clarity on the rules of what it actually is going to be.
Do you anticipate we will? I mean, we keep waiting for this grand piece of legislation for years now. That it seems more real now, the possibility.
It feels as real as ever. So just being over at the World Economic Forum, there's a lot of the players in the digital space, but then you start getting into talk of the institutional side, the banks saying, well, if there's rule clarity, we're going to be more active in the space. So I think it certainly feels like to us the mandate from the top saying there's going to be more clarity is coming, and we'll see.
And of course, this means if this happens, a whole build out of the crypto universe, like a build out we're seeing of the equity universe.
I think that's already happening based on some of the recent filings we've seen, and
Solana's coming. And heaven knows how many other coins are coming.
So I think the interesting thing will be, you have Bitcoin is to crypto as the QQQ, right, is to technology type stocks. And I think that's always how it's going to be. Bitcoin will be the biggest, the Qs will be the biggest. And then you're going to get all these supplementary products there that some of them will make a living for issuers and some will disappear over time because they weren't as successful. Or the performance not good.
And the other part here, other than crypto, is the options, a continuing explosion of the options business. Where does that ever end? I mean, a lot of this really picked up during COVID when all of a sudden younger people, it seems, staying at home, decided to learn about how to trade options, and they seem to have a taste for this.
Yeah, well, it's depending on the kind of option. It could be casino-esque, right? You're living by 24 hours, or you can actually use options to create a sophisticated risk-managed strategy, whether you want to sell calls, buy puts, whatever it might be, and that's all wrapped up in the ETFs now. And so with crypto, you can now build out a risk management and say, all right, I want to gain some upside, but I would like income, so I'm going to buy a covered call crypto ETF, right? Just to limit any volatility and keep the weekly or monthly income streams coming. So this is all sort of important stuff that's going to keep happening via NASDAQ.